Hi friends, and thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Jocelyn Peters. I'm the maker and designer behind Mountain Song Designs, and this is my YouTube channel. Today we're going to chat about designs that I have, whips that I'm working on, a book, a pattern book, and a couple other books that I have read recently. So thank you so much for joining me, and let's get started. Okay, the first thing that I want to share with you today is a hat that I just published a couple days ago on Thursday. It is my Fairlea hat. Here is the worsted weight hat, and here is the fingering weight hat with a pom-pom. It's a knit pom-pom. Look at that. It uses lolodidit yarn. This is her alpaca fluff, and it's held with a few strands together. Makes a lovely halo, and it's so cute. And it's a standard ribbed hat, but the way it's sized is to fit newborns all the way up through the largest adult head. So you need one pattern, and it'll give you all of the sizes for all of your family, and it's fingering weight and worsted weight, so you pick which one you want to use. And most people have a skein of fingering or a skein of worsted in their stash, and you want to make something for someone, or you want to use it but you aren't sure what to use it with. Well, you just need one and you make it, and this is perfect for you or for your family or for charity knitting, because this stretches so much. It'll fit so many heads. So that is what I have been doing this weekend, is just being excited about publishing this pattern. I have a couple of others that I knit. The little ones, size 1, 2, or these are both size 1 in fingering and worsted, and this is size 2. All you got to do is fold it up. You got your hat. It's cute. See how it looks? I love how the decreases are. Nice concentric circles, nice and even. So that is the Fairlea hat. Now I'm on Substack. So if you like getting newsletters, if you go to Substack, I am Mountain Song Designs there. I'll have links in the description. And I tend to send out a newsletter once a week, maybe once every other week. Sometimes it's knitting. It's mostly knitting, or at least knitting related. A few times I've gone a little off track, but my most recent newsletter is about the Fairlea hat, and it talks about why it's called the Fairlea hat. In a nutshell, it's because the West Virginia State Fair is in Fairlea, West Virginia. That's why it's spelled Fairlea. And the state fair, at least here, I'm sure it is other places too, it's a place for families. It's a place where families go and you have fun, and it's an easy day and you just enjoy yourselves. And that's how this hat is to me. It's fit for the whole family, and it's an easy knit, and you don't have to stress out about it too much because it's gonna fit. And I just thought Fairlea was a wonderful name for this hat. So let's move on to the next thing. Next, I would like to show you a whip that I am still working on. I'm on the second sock. This is my Fade into Neverland socks pattern. I've already turned the heel. I'm on the heel flap now. This is a seamless toe up sock that has a heel flap and gusset fit. I've talked about it on some of my other episodes, but I love this pattern. It's easy to take with me. There's no picking up stitches anywhere, but it has a really wonderful fit. This is in lolodidit plush sock, blood and walkers. It's from the Walking Dead collection. This was in my stash. It's been in my stash a long time, and this was the perfect project for it. Sometimes you have those skeins in your stash that you aren't quite sure what you want to put them together for. Maybe you don't have enough to make a striped sweater, or they don't quite have enough contrast maybe for a color work project. but a fade will work with anything. It can be a close fade. It can be two tonals that are totally different, but they look really nice together. So this is my Fade into Neverland sock whip. Here is the first one that I made, and this is fun. Isn't it just a fun colorway? I love it. And here's the sample that I used. If you look on Ravelry or Etsy, the patterns available there. This is also lolodidit with Irish Blessing and Sassenach. And this is the day of Outlander, because this is Sassenach and this is Sassenach, also lolodidit, and I'll be talking about this more. But yeah, this is my Fade into Neverland socks. On Ravelry, I'm Jocelyn Peters Designs, and on Etsy, I'm MTN Song Designs. So that's where you can find me. The socks and the hat are both out, and I'm looking forward to finishing the sock this week. Now, on to the next thing. Next, I would like to share with you a sweater that I had hoped would be done by today, but it's not quite. I'm about 6 rounds away from being done with the last sleeve, but I'm still not done, and I'll show you. Here we go. Here it is. This is the Calliope sweater. There's the one. I'm still finishing it. Check out my Outlander. Sorry, it's going there. My Outlander stitch marker. This is Versailles from Outlander. This is Yeti Goes to Lallybroch from Outlander. These are lolodidit colorways also. This is the MCN, Lolo's favorite, and that is what this hat is made out of. This is bourbon. And the Yeti colorway is, it's in L'Original. So I love this sweater. It's Calliope by Melissa Clulow. It's from Espace Tricot. I think that's how you say it. And it's a great raglan sweater. It's a little shorter than I normally make, so we'll see how that goes after I block it. And I changed the weight. So if you are looking to make this, it's written for DK or for fingering held double with a fluffy lace like a mohair. I wanted to use stash, and this is what I had. So I did my gauge swatch, because you should always do your gauge swatch, and I figured out that I could knit one of the sizes with a certain size needle and it should come out, and it has. However, because I'm using 2-color and it's a little different, I have changed the sleeves a little bit. Instead of knitting just a certain number, I knit longer until I ran out of this yarn because I wanted to use it all, and did a few extra decreases, and then I did my 2x1 ribbing. But I don't like how tight it is on my wrist. I don't know if it's because I did more decreases or because of the weight of the yarn or a mix. I don't know. But on the second sleeve, I did a broken rib. So if you look closely, you can see the 2x1 rib, but that's broken. So you knit every other row, and then the other rows you do your ribbing with your knits and purls. So while I'm only like six rows away, rounds, I'm so close, 6. I'm gonna have to come back and rip this out and redo it. I could do just in ladders, do the broken rib, so basically garter up each, but that takes a really long time because you have to go back and forth to get that ribbing in. If you've ever done it, you know what I mean. It's kind of a pain, and I'd really rather just re-knit it, make sure the gauge is all even, and it'll probably take less time, honestly. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm hoping to finish my sock and my sweater this week, fingers crossed. Hopefully I will get those done and move on to the next thing. And speaking of which, let's move on to the next thing now. So I would like to share with you what I'm wearing. I have a large pattern library, lots of books, magazines, and I enjoy knitting from those. And one of those things is this sweater. It is the Randall Fraser sweater, Outlander. Let me stand up and show you. This is lolodidit, her DK base, USA DK, Sassenach and Prince, and Dowager Countess is the light speckle. I made another colorwork sweater that used Sassenach and Prince in it, and I'll share that with you another time. But I fell in love with how the Sassenach and Prince go together. I love it. So I decided I had to have another sweater using those colors, and I really enjoy knitting things that you see in movies or, well, yeah, movies, TV shows. It feels authentic to me, and it brings me joy, and I love having a theme, which is why Sassenach, of course, goes really well with an Outlander color, and Dowager Countess because it's pretty, and because she's in England, and that's kind of close, and Prince is just really pretty. So I made it. Now it comes out of my book, Outlander Knitting, and this is a sweater that Bree wears. I think it's in season 2, and I remember seeing her sweater and just thinking, oh, that's so pretty, I have to make that. And I probably could have figured it out, but someone else figured it out for me, and I am more than happy to let other people figure that out when it comes to big numbers like sweaters and color work. So here is the model. Now this looks much more like Bree's sweater. In fact, they have a picture of Bree wearing it from the movie. You can see it there. So, well, I guess it's a show. It's not really a movie. But it's a lovely colorwork sweater. Now, I modified it just a little bit because my gauge was a little off. The stockinette was on gauge, and then I started doing the colorwork, and it spread out a little bit. So I had to rip out 26 rows of color work, but I went back to the last increase. I just omitted the increases. I may have had to tweak a few numbers here or there to make sure it lined up, but then I just knit the size down and it worked out perfectly. I'm really happy with how it turned out. This is one of my favorite sweaters that I've knit. It's so cozy and easy to wear. I love it. And this book is really neat. It takes some of the patterns are like this, and they come straight from the show. And some of them are sort of an interesting take, or something that the designer thinks that person would wear. So I'm going to show you a couple more. Let me see. I'll come back to that one. Well, this just looks really fun. Nice fingering weight. You always see their fingerless mitts. This one will go all the way up the sleeve. Mrs. Fitz's arm warmers. Nice ribbing. I think it'd be an easy to wear, easy to make, but still really effective. Clan Mackenzie boot socks. Love the Mackenzies. There are those socks. You can't see it very well, but it's a really cool cable. So when I feel like knitting a lot of cables on a sock, that's when I'm gonna make this one. And also, let's see. Oh, the next one. It's the these mitts and cowl. It's the Lovat. I'm not saying it right. Mitts and Cowl by Carrie Westerman. Just a nice little color work. I enjoy color work. I think it's fun, obviously. I wouldn't have made this if I didn't. But there's some really cool shawls in here too. But if you've watched it, do you remember the shawl that Claire wears on their wedding night? It's this gorgeous Shetland shawl, Shetland lace. And I'm going to show, here's a picture of her from the show wearing it. Now, This is a kind of dark picture. And they have a take on it that's a very simple version, but really pretty, very sweet. But I found someone who had found the original shawl that she wore, and they wrote it. They figured it out. It's a traditional, like, over 100-year-old lace shawl, Shetland lace shawl, that they wrote the pattern for. Now I got the rectangular version, so it's much smaller, less time, and I started it, but Shetland lace on cobweb yarn is more than an ocean, and it takes a lot of focus and a lot of concentration and time with people not talking to me, and I don't have a whole lot of that, but it's my goal to get back to that this year, and maybe I will be able to share that with you because it's gorgeous and it's going to be beautiful. So yeah, maybe this is my motivation to get it back out and to finish it because it's really lovely. But cobweb weight yarn. Anyway, I'm going to move on. All I have left is some book reviews for you, and that'll be it. All right. I finalized this video, including my review of the half book, as I already mentioned. Upon much further consideration, I have decided that I'm not going to include it. Personally, I think I shared a review and resulting message that are generally positive. However, I just don't feel comfortable putting some types of content into the world, regardless of how positive my intentions are. Lots of topics come up in real life that people tend to want to argue about. This book was supposed to be humorous and about a hike in the woods, both of which were true, yet it occasionally delved into politics, ugly politics. While I stand by my review, I don't feel that it is necessary to share it. I will leave with you one suggestion that I try to live by. Do your best to be kind and generous. I think the world would be a lot happier place if we all kept that in mind. Okay, back to better things. Okay, last thing, final thing I'm going to be chatting with you about is the book that I just read called Defy the Night by Brigid Kemmerer. Now, I can't claim finding this book. It was actually a recommendation from someone I follow on Instagram. Mom of Six Stitches, or Vegan Jilly, or Jill, or you may know her as the Knitting Broomstick. I have always enjoyed her podcast, and she just got back to it, so she is someone to look for, follow on Instagram. I really enjoy her book recommendations when I check them out, and this is one that I checked out, and she was right. It's so good. It's the first book in a series of 3. The third book is not out yet, but it reminds me a lot of Throne of Glass. It's a little maybe simpler than Throne of Glass. There's at least not yet. There's no complicated like fae stories and things like that. It's pretty straightforward, but it has the same feel, and it goes the way it's supposed to go. The good people are good people, and the bad people are bad people, and it all works out the way it's supposed to. But there are twists, and there are things that I didn't see coming. It was not one of those books where I read the first couple chapters. I listened to the audiobook and thought, oh, well, this is going to happen, and then it did. I spent the book wondering what was going to happen next and how they were going to deal with it, and it was a really enjoyable read. There's action, there's philosophy in a way, human nature, dealing with complications from, just trying to manage that. There's a kingdom and a king and a prince, and, people are sick and trying to deal with it. And there's one of the main characters is a girl, and she's really great. So I would recommend that you try it out too. Defy the Night. If you enjoy young adult action kinds of stories, it's a really great read, or listen if you're like me and listen to the audiobook. So that's it for my book review. Now, Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you check this out again in the future. I've really enjoyed doing this. You'll find me on YouTube. As I've said before, I'm on Etsy with my patterns and on Ravelry, Jocelyn Peters Designs. I'm also on Instagram, Mountain Song Designs, and Substack, also Mountain Song Designs. So there will be links in the description. Check out what you would like. Subscribe so that you will always be able to see when I have new things. I think you're supposed to hit a bell too. So I will see you next time. Bye.